Welcome to Truth Beyond Theory, Raw and Uncut, Image of the Beast, Part 2. Now, the Kaaba that is in Mecca is, in fact, the image that is spoken of. All Muslims pray towards it, they face it, they bow down to it, they worship it. Even in some hadiths, even in the Islamic tradition, it is said that the stone will be given eyes and a mouth to speak. Go back and watch the videos, the part 1, 2, and 3, the series Image of the Beast. I give the context of this. So when you're reading scripture that talks about it's given breath to speak, I mean it's hand in hand with the scriptures of Islam. So you can't deny it. It's irrefutable. It's undeniable. It's literally undeniable. This image is in fact the image that we're witnessing that is in Mecca today. So then you have the beast, or I showed you videos of the mark of the beast. So then it's like, well, who's the beast? Well, that's actually going to be the next series that I'm going to come up. Well, actually, right now I'm actually working on who Mystery Babylon is. Right, I'm working on who Mystery Babylon is, because if you look at the context, you got to remember all of it ties in. You can't just take Mark of the Beast and then run with that. You have to look at all of the context, and the context are multiple chapters. So you have Revelation 13, and then Revelation 17 breaks down who the beast is. Then it tells us that the woman, the mother of harlots, Mystery Babylon, the whore of Babylon, sits on the beast. She sits on the beast. So she is the center of this beast. And so my next videos, my next series is going to be based on Mystery Babylon. I'm actually working on that right now. And so I'm going to show you guys who Mystery Babylon, who, by the way, I'll just give you a little bit of clues on it, or hints or whatever, But Mystery Babylon is in fact Saudi Arabia. It's Arabia. And it's Arabia because scripture tells us it is. But in the videos, I'm gonna break it all down. I'm gonna break it all down. So stay tuned for those videos. That's gonna be coming out. More than likely, part 1 will come out tomorrow. It's gonna be part 1, 2, and 3. And I'm gonna be releasing. More than likely, part 1 will be released tomorrow. Part 1 is already pretty much set up to be released. So stay tuned for that. Definitely stay tuned for that. You're going to love it. You're going to enjoy it. It's going to be very, very, very informative. So the beast with 7 heads. The beast is in fact all of the kingdoms which leads up to the Islamic Empire. And then the woman who sits on the beast is in fact Arabia, Mystery Babylon. And then the image is the Kaaba, because the image is in Mecca, Arabia. The image is in Arabia. And the Kaaba is in Arabia. And the Kaaba is the center of Islam, because all Muslims face it to pray. In fact, it's part of one of the 5 pillars, the Hajj. The Hajj is a pilgrimage to Mecca so that you can go to the Kaaba and do the traditions that it requires. That's a requirement of every Muslim. If you're Muslim, you're watching this, you know what I'm talking about. It's a requirement. It's one of the 5 pillars of Islam, the Hajj. It's the 5th pillar. So, it's the center of Islam, and it says that the woman sits on the beast. And the woman is who? Mystery Babylon is Arabia, because the Kaaba is in Arabia. And I'm saying too much now, but in the next series, I'm gonna break all of this down. So just stay tuned for it, because I'm gonna break it down. I'm gonna show you guys the verses. Listen, I'm not just saying this because it looks like it fits. No, I'm gonna break down the literal verses that are pointing to Arabia being this Mystery Babylon. So that's the next series. And then the series after that is going to be the beast. Well, who's the beast? Like, who is actually the beast? How do you break that down? And I might have given a little bit of that up already, but, you know, like I said, Revelation 17 tells us who the beast is. It says that the 7 heads are also 7 mountains. They are also 7 kings. These are allegorical terms because heads, mountains in the Bible are allegorical terms for empires. Then he says that these are 7 kings. Well, kings don't rule mountains, they rule empires. Kings rule kingdoms. John tells us 5 have fallen, 1 is. Who's writing this? John. 5 have fallen. Well, the Egyptian Empire, Assyrian Empire, Babylonian Empire, Persian Empire, the Grecian Empire. 1 is. That means he was sitting on the Roman Empire, number 6. And who comes after the Roman Empire? The Turkish Ottoman Empire, the Islamic Empire. It says that there's even an 8th king that belongs to the 7. So there's one that's just like the 7. Well, we know that the Ottoman Empire, the Caliphate, was dismantled in 1924. That's the head wound, because in Revelation 13 tells us that one of the head wounds, one of the heads had a fatal wound, but then it came back. And then all of a sudden you see the beast out of the earth, this other beast, which is the head wound, by the way, which is also the 8th king, by the way, which is the revival of the Islamic Empire. I'm saying too much because all of this is for that other series. That's going to be for that series. So I'm not going to say too much. But all of it is connected. It's all connected, and it all points to Islam. All of it. In fact, I challenge anyone. I will pay you $1,000. I'll pay you $5,000. I will pay anyone $5,000. I challenge anyone to find me scripture in any parts of the Bible in which, when the Lord fights physically on earth, fighting against the nation, going to war with a nation that isn't Muslim today. Every single nation that God fights in the end times, in the context when he's physically present on earth, today, they're all Muslim nations, every last one of them. So there's something there, there's a connection. And that's very significant. Very significant. You know. So when you hear all these other theories about the Antichrist, the false prophet, the beast, and all these, and you think it's an individual, and you see all these other people out here preaching and teaching that, you know, oh, you know, Donald Trump's the Antichrist, Elon Musk is the false prophet, the Pope is the false prophet, Obama is the Antichrist, America is Mystery Babylon, the Vatican is Mystery Babylon, all these different things. None of it's biblical. None of it's biblical. But then you start the rabbit hole becomes just unorganized, because if the individual, and by the way, the false prophet is the Antichrist. They're not separate entities. The false prophet is the Antichrist. You will never find scripture that speaks of the false prophet and Antichrist in the same scripture. You won't find that. The false prophet is the Antichrist who leads the beast. I'll get into that in these other videos. But they're not separate entities. But if the beast is an individual, for example, if the beast is Donald Trump, if he's the Antichrist, well then what's his mark? Now you have to tell me what his mark is, because it's the mark of the beast. So if you're watching this and you believe that the beast is an individual, and whatever that is to you right now as you're watching this, well then what's his mark? And not only that, once people accept that mark, because he's the beast and he has a mark, now they accepted that mark. Now what is the image that they worship? You see, it starts to kind of get out of control. So none of it fits. None of it fits. And if you want to know how it all fits, just watch part 3.